You're listening to the Storm Report, your weekly insight into the Manchester Storm, brought to you by Storm TV's Maddie Finnegan.
Hello, hockey fans. Welcome to Sheffield Steelers fans, and welcome back, Storm fans, to this episode 13 of the Storm Report podcast, your official and exclusive podcast here with the Manchester Storm. Joining me this week, as always, we have Joe Morrow. Tyler Hinam makes his podcast return after a fun weekend this past weekend. And we are joined by Mitchell Balmas of the Sheffield Steelers. It should be a pretty good one. Now, I'm going to start with you, Mitch, as following what was a very successful debut season with the Steelers, to say the least, you came back, you flew to the airport, and then all of a sudden you're in a car coming to Manchester. Can you tell me a bit about that? You nearly signed for us, didn't you?
Yeah, a little funny story there. Simsy likes to tell that one quite a bit. So, I think it was we were flying Toronto to Manchester. Yeah, my former teammate actually, Steven Johnson, was on the flight as well. So we were kind of catching up, seeing how the summer went and whatever. And we kind of landed waiting for our bags and, just chatting. And then I think my bags were kind of out first. And then, so I was kind of, I think we were playing the guys in the preseason anyway. So I said, yeah, see you soon or whatever. And then kind of came out of the bag area there, kind of looking for my driver. And, one of the Manchester Storm guys kind of went to grab me there early and take me in. They just kind of realized that wasn't my driver, so trying to look for the real driver. So yeah, a little funny story since he kind of likes to tell everyone.
I was gonna say, how late did you realize that you were either getting in the wrong car or were already in the wrong car? Was there like a Steelers driver that was waiting a bit longer than they thought?
Yeah, our guy didn't have any like team apparel on or anything, so it was kind of a little mix up. And I think kind of once he was kind of grabbing my bags, I kind of saw the Storm quarter zip on there, so I kind of put two and two together there.
Fair enough. There's lots more to ask you to come later in this podcast, so Steelers fans, you're going to want to stick around. But first, this is called the Storm Report podcast, so we have to talk about some Storm stuff. And we had an epic bounce-back weekend, and we have to speak about that, Joe. In the last week's podcast, by the way, guys, if you haven't listened to that already, definitely go out and do so, because Joe actually ended up predicting, basically, the scores that we had this past weekend. But after it's been and gone, how do you feel about it?
I think it was obviously a successful weekend when you get all 4 points out of what you come to do is the main goal of everything. And I think the team played really well. I think that, like I said before, we got to figure it out sooner than later. It's getting a little repetitive, but I thought the guys played really well. They're mentally engaged this weekend. I think the first game in Coventry was a little heated. There's some big hits. There's a couple fights. There was a lot of scrums in that game. I think the crowd really backed us on that one, and the storm shelter was pretty fun. The ice surface was impeccable as per usual, so that was always a great key to the game. And I think we just consistently played a very well-rounded game there, and lucky enough for us, once we got to Sunday, we weren't out of gas yet, and battled a good team in Glasgow there and in their home building, and was able to get to overtime, score in overtime, make it exciting, and carry the good vibes onto the next weekend here.
A 4-point weekend is exactly what we needed to kind of get the ball rolling. And Tyler, what about you? I mean, since returning from injury, you've been chasing that first goal back, and you finally got on the board in Coventry, and I just want to know what that must have meant to you to have your name back on the score sheet.
Yeah, it was obviously nice. I think I saw a tweet after the game that it was my first goal since I think it was October 1st. So it was a long time in real time wise with just the injuries and stuff. So yeah, mentally it was definitely nice to get that one off the back and finally find them back in the net again. And yeah, it was like building on what Joe said. It was nice to get a win at home. Obviously the weekend before that, loss to Nottingham was just poor, and we wanted to kind of bounce back. So it was nice to get that win at home and get some momentum going into that second game. Obviously the first game, Tendy played awesome, and we locked it down pretty good. And you score 5 goals, you're going to get good results most times. So maybe on Sunday we didn't necessarily dominate the play, but there was pressure points in that game, like that 5-on-3 kill with Harry, Joe, and Steve-O killing a full 2 minutes there early in the game to not let that game get out of hand early and kept us in it. And then a 5-on-3 goal to tie it late. So those were some pressure points in that game that we stepped up and we made plays when we had to, and we obviously got a big performance from Tendy. So I think yeah, obviously last weekend was awesome, and trying to build on that. Like Joe said, it's time to fix it sooner rather than later. And obviously we stepped up with a good weekend, and we got to follow that up repetitively for the next 8 weekends. So yeah.
Tell me, Joe, tell me a bit more about Tendy or David Tender, because there might still be some Storm fans that don't know his full name. He's not been here very long, but he's been very impressive when he has been here. We kind of spoke about it last week in his debut. We both said that he had a good performance despite the result. Maybe the result wasn't fair to him, but he showed even more of his quality this past weekend.
Yeah, quality is definitely the key word there. He faced a lot of shots. I don't know what the numbers were or the totals. I try not to look at that because maybe that's me not blocking enough shots or me me doing something wrong in the back end there. But he's an incredibly calm, cool, collected kind of guy. He does his job. He knows what his job is, and I don't think many things would deter him. I mean, I personally don't know him that well yet. Obviously, everybody's still trying to get to know him and invite him out to do things and have some dinners and some discussions on the bus. But just a very sound individual, a great guy. And like I said, I don't think anything would really bother him, which is an amazing attribute to have as a professional athlete. And I'm sure Mitch can attest to it. You guys have an amazing goalie back there in Greenfield, and like having somebody back there is just a major confidence boost to your game and to your team. So um, that's pretty much all I got on Tendy. Just great guy, calm, cool, collected, and hopefully nothing wavers that confidence that he got right now. So keep it rolling.
Exactly. You did show well, you didn't have the save statistics, but I did because I did the research for you, so you can have this here. But 88 saves across a weekend is pretty monumental, and
Yeah.
it's safe to say that with goaltending like that, the Storm are going to be in safe hands. I don't know if I interrupted you there, Mitch, but you can kind of, as Joe said, attest to how crucial it is to have a goalie that you can really trust back there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're lucky to have Greener kind of back there for the last 2 seasons since I've been here anyways. He just kind of builds some confidence in your group just all the way up front, maybe you're a little bit easier making plays in the O zone or even in the D zone when you got a hot goalie back there and a goalie that you can trust day in, day out. It kind of, gives the team confidence and maybe even individual confidence as well. Obviously you got that new guy in there who's like you said, 88 saves on the weekend and when Weniger's healthy. So I mean, you guys got a lot of good goaltending back there for sure.
It's going to be one fascinating goalie battle this Saturday, that's for sure. But we'll kind of move on to you now, Mitch. I want to talk about the fact that we both just come off the back of 4-point weekends. That's pretty huge. So there's momentum to carry for both teams going into this one. But kind of summarize the season as a whole so far. You've been in multiple competitions. Kind of tell me what that's been like for you and your team.
Yeah, it's to be quite honest, it's kind of been a roller coaster. We kind of started off pretty high with the Champions League. Kind of getting some good results across Europe, which for sure helps you. But then I think the schedule kind of started creeping up to us there, and kind of late November, early December with a lot of games, kind of and a lot of travel coming there, and we kind of took a turn for the worse. And when things are going bad, I'm sure Ty and Joe can kind of test that it's kind of hard to pull yourself out of it. You think you try to do the little things, but when the bounces aren't going your way and you're gripping your stick a little too much and the confidence isn't there, it can struggle. So I think it was nice there a couple of weeks ago. We had a little bit of time off, a little time to little reset, if you want to call it that. And yeah, I think we're back to playing Sheffield hockey again, which is always nice.
So just to piggyback off that, I'm always curious, just as a player, and I'm sure the fans are just as curious too. Is you guys this year have gone through weekends where you have like 0 points in a weekend, maybe lost 2 in a row, 3 in a row even. But last year, I know you. I mean, I couldn't tell you a weekend that you guys lost 2 in a row. Is just so dominant last year, and I mean this year when you guys do play well, you're just as dominant. Like still a phenomenal hockey team, but what's kind of the mindset of you guys in your locker room to give everybody a perspective of when you do go through a weekend like that, coming into like a Monday or Tuesday practice, getting ready for the next weekend? Have you guys changed anything, or how do you guys handle that?
Yeah, in that kind of sense, to speak of last year, first of all, there was we didn't lose 2 games in a row at any point during the year. That was
Yeah.
kind of our main thing. You know, if we lost a game, we really found a way to buckle in and kind of get that result the next game, which obviously helps you. If you're only losing 1 game here and there, I mean, you're going to be in for a good season. Don't get me wrong, but and then this year, you know, if you kind of lose that one, or like you said, we lose that 2 on the weekend, you know, things don't go your way. And kind of when we were slumping, we would have a lot of those Wednesday games coming back to back. I think we had 4 or 5 weeks in a row with that Wednesday game. So it is tough when you're not being able to practice too. When you're, like you said, when you're coming off that 0 point weekend, and you know, usually have the Mondays off, kind of recoup and rest up, and then you know, you're only out there for 30-40 minute practice on the Tuesday, and then you're back at it. So sometimes it's great when you're rolling and you're feeling good. The only thing you want to do is play the games. But you
Yeah.
know, sometimes when you're streaking like that, sorry, you kind of need that week of practice to, you know, get back to your good habits and your work effort and that sort of stuff.
I think the season you guys had in Sheffield last season was always going to be one that was tough to repeat, let alone do better than, with your treble run and everything. And then you had the Champions Hockey League to contend with this season. But that being said, domestically, as of the time of recording this podcast, Sheffield are still in and competing heavily in every domestic competition you guys are in. So kind of take me into the mindset of yourself as a player in that team. You've got a lot to focus on. You've got another Wednesday game this week, and you've got loads of different competitions to focus on. So put me in that mindset. Put me in the shoes of a player that has to compete in all those different levels. Kind of what makes your team able to do that?
Yeah, I mean it's fun hockey this time of the year. We're kind of get down to crucial time now. I'm not exactly sure of the standings, to be honest with you. I think we're 7 back of Belfast with a game in hand. I think we're 2 up on Cardiff, and we played an extra one, and Nottingham's right around 2 there. So I mean, we have a couple big games against Cardiff. Those are obviously going to be big for standings wise. At least one more against Belfast too. So these games are going to be big, and you know we're not really in a situation to be dropping games right now. Obviously, with us trailing, we're going to need some help with some teams beating Belfast and even Cardiff and Nottingham. So yeah, I mean it's fun. We're going to have to come to the rink every weekend and be ready to play. It's crunch time now, and we're going to have to bring our best every night.
The season is definitely far from over. There's a lot of twists in the tail left, I'm sure, but we'll kind of get to that a little bit later, as I want to kind of have that be the end when we talk about the immediate future in this coming weekend. I'll kind of strip back the layers a little bit now and talk about last season as a whole for you. You've been playing in so many different leagues across your career, and I kind of want to know what playing in the Elite League in your first season was like compared to playing in the league in North America.
Yeah, I think definitely the biggest thing I had was obviously just the bigger ice surface for sure. Kind of getting you used to the fast paced games. Um, yeah, and I think ever since I kind of left school and turned pro, I was kind of in a new city every year. So that's obviously never the easiest thing to do at the same time. So I think coming last year, I love Sheffield as a spot. You know, me and Foxy get along really well. The coaching staff in general and all the players. We have a good group of guys in the room, so it was kind of a no-brainer decision for me to kind of come back. I'm doing my school as well this year in the MBA program, so that's obviously an added bonus. And then yeah, it just we get treated so nice on the road with travel. Andy, our equipment guy, is great, so it's a great place to play.
Now, Tyler, talk to me about the link I've been waiting to establish since we started recording is the link between yourself and Mitch. Kind of take me back to the first time you guys met each other. Tell me how you guys know who one another is. When did you first meet?
I'd say I don't know really when we would have met for the first time as like I guess people, but we've been playing hockey against each other as long as I can remember. We both grew up in the same province. I'm in Nova Scotia. Mitch was a year older than me, so um, he was pretty dominant growing up when we would play against each other, and he was kind of a player that you looked up to and tried to chase, and obviously that chase is still on, I guess, to a certain degree. But no, I so we grew up playing against each other every second year. And then we played against each other through major junior. And then we pretty much formed a friendship, mainly through a mutual friend in Derek Gentile. Once Balmer was done junior and moved to Halifax, kind of where I'm from. So we spent a little bit more time together. in the summers and off the ice, and kind of formed a friendship. So that was cool. Getting to know Mitch on a deeper level, not as just as a hockey player, but more as a human. And yeah, it's been nice forming a friendship over the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years.
You guys both went over, if I'm not mistaken. You guys both came over to the UK, to the Elite League in the same kind of time, the same summer. Was there any sort of communication there, or was that just a happy coincidence?
Yeah, we actually we play on the same 4-on-4 team in the summer. So there's a little league we have in Halifax. So that's fun. So we play on that together and we skate together in the summer. So through the summer, I think I had signed over here first, and Balmer hadn't figured out his contract situation yet. Um, and then yeah, we showed up to the rink one day and he told me that he'd signed in Sheffield and we were going to be playing against each other this year. So that's so there was definitely communication before we got over here, and it was fun, obviously playing them for the first time, and having a familiar face over here is always nice.
It's
Mitch,
interesting knowing that
sorry.
you guys. Sorry, no, it's okay. It's interesting knowing that you guys have played against each other so much, and there's actually not a right lot different when it comes to just being over here in the UK. Mitch, did you have any comment to add on to what Tyler said?
I guess just kind of agree with him about kind of both growing up from Nova Scotia. You kind of you kind of know whether a year above you or a year below you, who the kind of the best players are in the province. And obviously, Tyler was a great player growing up as well, so it was kind of nice. Kind of going back to our 4-on-4 summer, our league this year, big championship actually this year, undefeated. So had to get that out of there. But yeah, it's been a lot of
Yeah.
fun, kind of, like we're saying, our mutual friend with Derek Gentile, they were going through that wedding and, spending a couple of days in God's country, Cape Breton there this summer. So enjoying some time off in the summers and then being able to skate and kind of work out together in the off seasons are always nice.
I can't catch a break out here. There's nobody from the West that even plays in this league. I feel like it's just all East Coast dudes. Like it's all the Maritime guys just hanging out with each other. I'm just stuck in the West Coast.
I think you maybe have to get the word out, Joe. You have to tell people back home, hey, it's actually all right over here.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta spread the word a little better. I'm a bad salesman.
Right,
Yeah.
Mitch. So talk to me about when, like, I think this will be interesting for Sheffield fans and for me personally as well. I love asking people this question. When did you first realize that you were good enough to go pro in hockey? Take me back to that moment where you first realized, hang on, I've actually got something here. I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah, good question, really, to be honest with you. I kind of grew up in a small island in Cape Breton there, so Um, Derek Gentile is my best friend. So he was kind of every year we were, there when you're picking a hockey team from 30 players at tryouts, that you're never going to really be the best team when you're playing against those guys from Halifax have hundreds of kids trying out. So it's never the easiest competing with those guys. But I think it's, just getting a lot of ice time as a kid, playing 5-on-5 a lot. You're double shifting, you're playing power play, you're penalty killing. And for me, I've always loved the game since a young age. Even when I try to think back of a kid, I can, just playing on backyard rinks, enjoying to go to hockey or playing road hockey with your friends. I think hockey was always just the main part of my life. And then, kind of when I was, 14, 15, I was kind of excelling back home in Nova Scotia. And then it was just kind of the time there that, yeah, geez, maybe I do have a shot at this. Kind of start taking it serious. You're watching what you're eating, you're working out in the summers and whatnot, and kind of doing whatever you can to fit in and make that jump to major junior and then pro after that as well.
From a lot of the players that we get to speak to on this podcast, it becomes very clear that from an early age, hockey is everything. And it's got such a big presence over there in Canada and in the States as well. But what do you make of the growth, or if there is a growth to what you've seen while you've been over here, of ice hockey as a presence in the UK? What do you make of its growth?
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. I think ever since I was over here, kind of, it's been great, to be honest with you. I think my first game over here, we actually played an exhibition game against Nottingham, and we were coming over for warm-ups, and the rink was sold out actually. And so I can kind of remember kind of coming on the ice thinking, what's going on? What did I get myself into coming over here? So it was I think there was 3 fights in the preseason game, and then obviously it calms down once the season gets going. But I think just from the start of last year, with the support we got early on, and then late on, and then into Champions League as well, and then into now, the fans here have been unbelievable. And it's great. We kind of go on the road a lot of times, and sometimes they'll say we play the villain roles, and sometimes a lot of away teams don't love us, and you hear it on the benches, you hear it from the fans, so it makes the game a lot of fun.
Do you see any changes in kind of youth hockey in the Sheffield area? Like, do you see any academies starting up or popularity growing in the sport for younger kids or even like a younger fan base? Do you see more kids in the crowd or I don't know if you guys do kind of skate. We do a little skate with the fans thing, and I mean every couple times we have it, I see more and more kids out there. Do you kind of see any sort of youth growth in Sheffield at all?
Yeah, it's funny you notice that. Actually, me and my buddy were talking about that not too long ago. I think just going to the rink and you're seeing just so many kids now. Definitely more kids with the jerseys on.
Yeah.
They're running up to you, pictures, autographs.
Yeah,
I think
cool.
it's awesome for the game over here. I think that's where it has to start in minor hockey and then grow from there. So it's awesome to see.
Good.
What about you, Tyler? In Manchester, your time here, what do you make of the presence of hockey in the city?
Yeah, I think obviously the Manchester Storm Academy is doing a good job trying to grow the game. I think they're doing the best they can, obviously, with the programs they have set up with the learn to play stuff, and obviously we like Joe mentioned we do the skate with the fans, and we help out with the academy skates. So just trying to get more involved, trying to get the word out is I think the biggest thing. Obviously, I think like you said. In Canada, we just grow up on hockey. Everything's hockey. Where here, it's like that. It's just for football. So, obviously, it's not easy to compete, and it's just I feel like if more people knew about it, maybe more people would try it. And I think if we're able to get the word out, and spread awareness of hockey and how it's a great team sport and it's a great thing to be a part of, then more kids will join and it'll grow.
It must be a fun role for all of you guys to come over and almost be like ambassadors for hockey when you come over here, because I've definitely seen a growth in hockey in the UK in the last couple of years. We get really good attendances now every week published by the league, and it's really good to see, and long may that continue. Now, I'm going to switch up a little bit and ask a question that I've been looking forward to ask the two of you, because this is a question that we've asked recently with some of the other guys we've had on in recent podcast episodes, and it's gone down really well. So I'll start with you, Mitch. I'm gonna put you guys both in the situation of you're both there, Mitch and Tyler, and you're both going towards the end boards, and there's a loose puck battle, and you have a chance to either go easy on them or to ride them hard into the boards. Because you guys are friends off ice, does that kind of influence yourself? Do you pull the punches, or are you going in there to let them know you're there?
It's kind of funny you kind of bring this question up. I think there was the last home game actually. It was basically this exact same situation. We were kind of lined up against each other off the face-off, and then somehow the puck went to the weak side boards, and we were in basically a foot race the whole way, and just shoulder on shoulder the whole way. I think you're obviously going for the puck, but I mean, I think I'd be lying if I was saying if I would smash him through the boards. So I think you're doing what you can to get the puck, but you're obviously thinking about your buddy on the other side at the same time.
Tyler?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I remember that exact play, and I actually remember you saying like, my shoulder, and I was like, shit, sorry. And then we switched back to the D zone. So yeah, you're doing what you can to drive him into the boards and try to take that puck, but at the same time, you hope he's not hurt, and you're just trying to compete out there. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm going in for that puck, and Mitch knows that too.
Yeah, I think anybody that knows Heine would know that you're either getting out of the way or you're going full 100%. You got to battle it, and I think it's heavily respected. It's a personality trait of somebody, and when you go to battle, it just has one switch. It's just on or off. So I think it's off when he's off the ice, and then it's whenever he puts his skates on, it's just on. So if you want to battle him, you got to battle him to the best of your abilities. You're probably getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big respect thing too as well. I'm gonna have to start counting every time Heine you hit me this year, and every hit's gonna be a beer bought in the summer or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Big
exactly.
deal.
We'll
Easy
see
shout.
we'll see how many rounds you have to buy him after this weekend's game then, Tyler.
Yeah, there you go.
Six
You
are going
guys-
your way, Homer.
We shall see. I wonder if the rivalry, the added rivalry between Manchester and Sheffield kind of adds to that when you guys are out there. And that kind of leads me on to my next question. Mitch, Tyler, you guys have both been in this country long enough now to understand the rivalry between the Storm and the Steelers. The fans always turn up for these games, and I want to know if it impacts at all. I'll start with Tyler. I want to know if it impacts or like motivates you guys to play harder against Mitch and the Steelers.
For sure. Obviously, it's they're the class of the league. They won all 3 trophies last year. They're an elite team. They're an elite club. So anytime you're going against a team like that, you know that you need to bring your best, or it could be an ugly night. So that to start off with. You don't really want to get embarrassed. So you got to bring a strong effort anytime you're going to go against Sheffield to begin with. And then, yeah, I think I didn't really quite understand it until, to be honest, the away win in Sheffield last year, how much that meant to our fan base, and how much that meant to the guys that had been around in our organization for years, and had so many unsuccessful nights there and unsuccessful nights against Sheffield. It's big for us when we've been able to get wins against them, and it's definitely fuels motivation for us, that rivalry that obviously dates back years.
I'll ask this question. I'll ask this first to Mitch. Do you remember anything from that night when the Storm took the points off you at home?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Chris buried that empty net, and I think I can still remember him celebrating kind of to your little fan block there. So I mean, yeah, I think we didn't lose too many games last year at home. I couldn't tell you any other ones, but I can definitely remember that game and Chris's kind of celebration there.
It's important because it's bragging rights for the fans. It means a lot to them, and it's a lot more than just 2 points like a regular game. And I always find it so much more fascinating what kind of goes through the player's psyche gearing up for one of those games. I mean, does it change at all the way that you personally prepare for a game if you have that added weight of like extra fan expectation on you, Mitch?
Yes and no, I guess. I mean, you're obviously definitely be thinking about it when you're playing a big game against a rival, whether it's at home or on the road. But I think preparing for it, I would say no. I think, I kind of do my little stuff before this, the same as every other game. So I think on that sense of preparing for it, I would say no. But I'd be lying if you're not thinking about it before going to a big game. So.
These 2 points are absolutely crucial for both teams as you guys have your title battle going on and we're trying to get our way back into a playoff spot. So the 2 points are very crucial. The bragging rights arguably more so between the fan bases. So if you're listening at home and you haven't already got your tickets, what are you doing? Go get your tickets now. You're not going to want to miss this game. Saturday, the 8th of Feb at a 7 p.m. puck drop. Definitely make sure you're there. Both sets of fans, you're going to need to give it all you've got to get behind your team. And speaking of getting fans behind you, my kind of final question to you both in this is before we wrap up, I want you guys to have a chance to give the fans a word. I want you to speak to them and tell them what to expect ahead of Saturday. So I'll go with Mitch first and I'll let the Storm be the final word. Mitch, what do you have to say to the Sheffield fans ahead of the game on Saturday?
Yeah, first I'd just like to thanks for the support for all season, first of all. You guys have been great, through the highs and through the lows. We know that you guys been stuck by our side and you kind of supported us for the full season. Saturday going into the storm shelter, it's never an easy building to kind of go into and play. Smaller sheet of ice, things happen much quicker. It's definitely less room for error. So I think we're gonna have to bring our A game. Manchester, you guys always give us a great game. So we're gonna have to be ready to compete right from puck drop right till the end.
Tyler, what words do you have for the Manchester Storm fans ahead of this one on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, echoing Mitch, thank you for the support. Obviously, we haven't had as much success as Sheffield has had this season, and we're not where we want to be. But we've still got full buildings here in February and in ninth place, which is incredible, and we really do appreciate the support, and it means the world to us that we're still getting that support, and they still have that faith in us. To bring those performances in the future, and we're trying to build off this past weekend and bring future better performances, especially at home. And so yeah, I'd like to say thank you for sticking with us, and we're trying to do our best to turn this around and get into the playoffs and make a push here. So yeah, obviously we're realistic about it's been a disappointing season so far, but we appreciate the support and the continued support through that. And for this weekend, I expect a hard game that both teams are desperate for the points, obviously for different reasons. As mentioned, Sheffield's in a title race. They need points. They can't afford to give points away. And we can't either. We need these big wins. We need to gain some ground on Dundee, on Glasgow. So these are big points for both clubs for different reasons, but the desperation is going to be there on both sides, I think.
Strong words there from you both. It'll be interesting to see what happens come the final buzzer on Saturday, and we're interesting to see how many pints Tyler owes Mitchell as well at the end of everything. But there's just leaves for one more thing on this podcast episode, and that is the Cup of Joe segment. Now, Joe, there'll be a lot of Sheffield fans listening that haven't heard of this before, so give them a bit of a brief introduction and then take it away.
All right, about as simple as it can be. It's just, I think there's about 10 rapid-fire questions. We'll obviously start with the away squad here, so we'll start with Mitch, but it's just the no-think, rapid-fire answer. It's usually kind of 1 or 2 word answers, but it's about as simple as it can get. So I'll start off with the first one. Mitch, if you were a cartoon character, who would you be?
I'll say Goofy.
What's been your favorite age so far?
21.
21 is a good one. What's the best concert you've attended?
I saw Luke Bryan at Cavendish, big country concert back home, so I'll say him.
Country fans, always. What do you wish you learned sooner?
Snowboarding. I still don't know how to learn it. Still don't know it, so I'll have to learn that.
All right, that's a new one. Which teammate's life would make the best reality TV show?
Miko Usula.
Wow.
You never know what you're getting from him day in, day out.
There we go, mystery man. Would you rather be rich or healthy?
I'll say healthy.
What creeps you out?
Clowns.
Invisibility or super strength?
I'll say invisibility.
Scuba diving or skydiving?
Skydiving.
Texting or calling?
Calling.
And then give me 3 things a person needs to be happy.
I'll answer for myself anyways. I'll say warm weather on a golf course with a drink that Tyler bought me.
There you go. That's my A1 answer right there. That's my number 1. We've had a lot of good ones.
You know the price to pay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good to go, Joe.
All right. If you were a cartoon character, who would you be?
Scooby-Doo.
What's been your favorite age so far?
We're going 19.
And what do you wish you learned sooner?
I'll say like nutrition and body stuff and like importance of sleep, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there you go. That would have helped. Best concert you've attended?
Chris Stapleton.
Would you rather be rich or healthy?
Healthy.
What teammate's life would make the best reality show?
You're always up to something.
I gotta stop asking that question. I don't like when people say me. I'm not that.
Have people said you yet?
Yeah, I'm not that cool. I'm not that cool, just for the record. But we'll keep going. What creeps you out?
Snakes.
Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility.
Yeah, scuba diving or skydiving?
Scuba for sure.
Yeah, it's a mystery down there. Texting or calling?
Calling.
And then give me 3 things you need to be happy.
I'll say warm weather on a golf course with my friends.
Yeah, there you go. I like these guys. These are two of my favorite. This is where we need to be. We need the golf. We need the sunshine.
Simple.
Need a couple beers with your friends. I love it.
Yeah, simple life.
That's perfect. Thanks, guys.
Some good answers there. Some good answers there for sure. Some really good country concerts. I rate that. And then Sheffield fans can try and see if they can look forward to a Miko Usula documentary. I'm sure Mitch can go and head that one up. And then I'm expecting all Storm fans to show up to the rink dressed as clowns this weekend as well.
Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be awesome. If you got 1 or 2 clowns, that would be awesome.
Anyway, thank you to the fans. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, why not give it a review, a like, or a comment? And if you really liked it, be sure to tell all of your friends. But until next time, thank you so much to those that have joined me today, Tyler, Mitch, and Joe. Take care.
That was the Storm Report, brought to you by Storm TV. Tune in next week for more exclusive insights. Tickets on sale now at manchesterstorm.com.